My work with plastinate is as unique as the first steps taken by early anatomists. I look forward to meeting you, Professor Gunther von Hagens.
What are we doing now?
Ladies, I've taken the liberty of inviting a special guest who's an anatomist. You may have heard of, called Professor von Hagens, to Kent Church.
Come here?
Yeah.
The one that strips the muscles and makes the stroke. Oh my God.
I presume his demonstration will take place after dinner.
So country. Demonstration of what?
I would very much like him to do a dissection of some description. But yeah, I'm absolutely fascinated to see what he brings with him.
Professor von Hagens arrives. The many medical breakthroughs that were made at this time were made by men like him. Men who looked inside corpses to identify the causes of disease.
He could be a bit of a disturbing dinner guest. Definitely don't think he should be sitting next to Mrs. Rogers, actually. God, this is going to be much more, yes, worrying than I'd thought.
Medical advance led to a growing demand for bodies. But the law restricted supply, opening the way for grave robbers. When new legislation allowed for paupers to be anatomized, there was a public outcry against all who meddled with the dead.
The fear that people have against dead bodies. Now, it's an inherent fear. Something is rotting and something is decaying. There is a huge instinctive urge to keep away from it.
How soon after death has occurred do you start working?
Well, in the summertime, 3 weeks is no problem. In the wintertime, even 5 weeks, 6 weeks, as long as the body is kept cool. When there is some green coloration, I still can fix it with chemicals. I inject, and then all the...
Professor von Hagens' speciality is plastination, the use of chemical resins to preserve bodies in dramatic poses.
And do you have plans to have yourself plastinated?
Certainly. I dissected a good friend of mine. He died with the age of 48. He never thought of becoming plastinated until he got carcinoma of the kidney. And then he said, well, I'm too young to go to the cemetery. Please plastinate me. So I tried to do it because I felt obliged. But I must say, in terms of mourning work, to come over his death, to digest his death, it was very successful. Sometimes I had a feeling he stretches across the barrier of death.
Bodies were expensive, and anatomists had to pay for their research. They raised money by entertaining wealthy patrons with demonstrations of their work.
No, I've got no accounting for it.
I just take the people apart in my mind. Before I even take the scalpel in my hand. In this way, I'm an artist. In this way, I'm a sculptor.
As you say, you can look at somebody, like Mr. Foxcliffe. You can see the different layers, you know, and we're not used to looking at the person and seeing them in that way. It's a very different
I know
way.
what is inside, you know. Look, when I take a lady's shoulder and I take my hand here, I know exactly what is now between my finger and my thumb.
You mentioned you might look at somebody and you see a muscle move and you know what's adjacent to that. Have you had that experience with anybody tonight?
Oh, yes. Did you see here the muscle, how it comes up? Please fall again. When this comes up, it's very rare. It's so exciting, you know.
I was kind of sat opposite the professor. He was eating a blackberry fool at the time, and he just kind of looked directly at me. He looked me straight in the eye, and he raised his eyebrow. And you know when you kind of see somebody looking at you and you think, they're looking at me and they're thinking, I want you for your body. Well, he was thinking that, but for all the wrong reasons.
Body is so complex and there's so much unknown. The more I learn anatomy, the more anatomical questions are generated. So for me, the body is more of a secret than for you.
Yes.
The professor has invited the guests to make close inspection of his plastinates.
Have to be my Regency one, it's the Regency.
And when he swallowed,
Von Hagen's inspiration was the French artist Honoré Fragonard. Fragonard plastinated a complete horse and rider using liquid metals in the 1790s.
I'd like to bring you back into the Regency time of Frankenstein, with the electricity just invented at this time, just discovered, that there was in the mind of the people, we could perhaps bring to life kind of newly put together body out of parts, of body parts. In this way, I'm modern Frankenstein. I don't need the kind of electric blunder. I animate the body, not by electricity, but by putting them in lifelike pose.
The most significant advance of Regency anatomy was in understanding the female body. Until then, a woman's body was seen simply as an inferior version of a man's.
I wonder who she was.
No, don't start thinking things like
No,
that.
you can't. Because that's the thing he was saying. That
Funnily enough, it looks like a model. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't look real. Did you get that feeling? It doesn't look like a real human being.
I feel compelled to look and look and look and look and look.
Apparently the eye is a third real, a third glass. All the eyelashes are 2/3 real. And apart from that, every single other thing is completely real.
Lady Devonport takes the lead. And we're back up to the charge.
Don't push me, Kitty!
The seat needs to be about here.
Well, these were built by dangerous people for dangerous people, Everett.
As the Regency House science event gathers momentum, Mr. Fox-Smith introduces another innovation to the party, the velocipede. It was the custom of men of fashion to show off by strutting about on contraptions like these.
Right, who's going to win this race?
I don't know.
Can we go
Mr.
for,
Everett, actually. I think Mr. Everett.
I think Carrington to win.
Do you? Well, I think Everett to win. Yeah, my money's on Everett in this one.
Do you reckon?
Ladies and gentlemen, both contenders have a history of dislike for each other.
Rivals for the affections of Miss Hopkins, Everett and Carrington are set to battle it out in a contest of speed.
It's a two-horse race. Anything could happen. Come on, paddle! Oh, no, run, I mean.
What are we supposed to do here?
Oh, no! Everett, you have to pick that up. Go on, Everett. Keep up. Chicane it. Oh, he's missed the footman. Nice action with the steering. Oh, brilliant. No, they're going for it anyway.
Excellent. I was decided too early, wasn't it?
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a winner!
Mr. Everett and I wouldn't kind of go anywhere, and one of the reasons why I am so sure about that is because I've had the chance to meet Mr. Carrington.
Thank you.
Good on you, sir.
Being a 21st century girl, I'm also frightened of being hurt and I'm frightened of being rejected. So all I can do is be myself and try and spend time with him. Maybe kind of using the purpose of the game, try and get my chaperone to engineer some time that we can spend together so we can genuinely spend time to getting to know each other, because at the end of the day we haven't spent that much time together.
On your marks.
Ready?
Get ready.